Hi, I'm Callista.
And I'm Allison, and welcome back to I Don't Want to Talk About Politics, a podcast where we discuss the issues you don't want to talk about around the Thanksgiving dinner table. Let me tell you something, Callista. God truly does not want us to record this episode.
No, he really doesn't.
Try number 5 of us trying to record this.
Yeah, because we keep moving it. And then, well, now the program decided.
Oh yeah, we've recorded about 6 minutes, and then we heard the thing that we used to record reconnect, and we were like, was he not recording this entire time? And by he, we mean Craig, our wonderful bot who records our audio.
Yes.
With some random dude named Craig.
It was probably like, who are these crazy people?
That'd be so funny if we just had like a random guy named Craig who just like sat in a Discord chat with us and just held like voice memos like up to the computer. Anyways, Callista, how was your week?
It's been good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dog sitting and cat sitting and house sitting, watching 2 dogs, 1 cat, and 1 fish. And then I let out some other dogs this week. But yeah.
You don't know the name of it.
I don't know the name of the fish.
And I'm going to ask you this because I asked you this before. What is the name of my fish, Callista?
It starts with an M.
It's popular Celtic legend, one of my favorite TV shows. I want another fish so I can name it another character from the show.
Merlin?
Merlin, yes.
I was like, I don't know.
Merlin is my beautiful midnight blacktail, I think it's what it's called, beta fish. He is pitch black, and then there's like little lines of electric blue in him, and he's very beautiful, and he loves to sit in his little log that's covered in mushrooms. Well, hi, Annie.
Annie has joined.
We've been joined by a pug named Annie, and he loves to sit in his little mushroom log and play dead. And I know he's alive, I promise, because he does swim around. But I've had many frights that he's dead.
Mm-hmm.
You discovered
yes.
a new social media app this week?
Yes. Well, I didn't discover it. It just has been created. So Instagram has Threads now, which is basically their version of Twitter. Which I find interesting because I'm pretty sure it comes after the whole supposedly Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg are having a cage fight soon. And so I feel like it was Mark Zuckerberg's way, because Facebook owns Instagram. Well, Meta does, which is ran by Mark Zuckerberg. I'm pretty sure it was a way to, like, stab at Elon. Was like, I'm going to create my version of Twitter.
Here's my question, Philistine.
What?
I think you know where I'm going with this.
Yes.
I've been quite into WWE lately.
Uh-huh.
And I would love to go to a live boxing match.
Mm-hmm.
Hear me out. We go see Mark Zuckerberg fight Elon Musk.
Sure.
It'd be a great
My guess is those tickets will be about $1 million.
Be a great trip. Have some fun.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, there's something else coming up in the podcast that we definitely need to go to. I'm guessing the tickets will probably be about $15. So get ready for that.
Okay. Well, yeah.
Did you go into the news for this week?
Yes.
On Independence Day, a powdery white substance was found in the White House. In an article from Forbes, I don't know where this article was from. They said that a powdery white substance that was tested positive as cocaine in preliminary tests was found in the White House, sparking an investigation
Investigation.
from the Secret Service. What did you say earlier that made me laugh? The originated part.
It was supposed to be originated, and I said originated. Originated.
Investigation. The substance was discovered in a work area in the West Wing by members of the Uniform Division of the Secret Service conducting routine rounds through the building. I mean, they're like, all the press that's coming out about it is like, we have no idea how it could have gone. It probably was a tourist, or maybe one of the staff. But we all know it was Hunter Biden.
Exactly.
It probably was.
But then also they were all like, well, all the Biden were gone for the weekend.
Okay, he probably left his cocaine behind.
My aunt brought up a good point. Where was Kamala? It could have been Kamala.
That's what fuels her dancing.
Yeah.
He goes, and then.
Yep.
Like, I don't, there's not like a lot of information on this, but like also there's like the whole thing about his daughter right now where he's not having to pay as much in like child support because he's claiming that he's broke.
Yeah.
Which I don't know, like your daddy's been in Congress for like 80 years, so I don't think he's broke.
No.
So, I mean, I really didn't write a lot on this.
It was obviously the cocaine bear.
It was obviously the cocaine bear. I did title this as The Cocaine Bear in the White House plus his disowned bear cub. Why does it say 87?
I don't know.
I don't know what
You know,
87 is.
The Disowned Bear Club 87 Club. I apologize if you hear this pug breathing everywhere.
I apologize if you hear the fan in the background of this podcast. I'm recording in my room today and it's like 90 degrees in here, so you either get a fan or you get me dying midway through the podcast.
Are we ready for the next news story? 7 Republican attorney generals this week, which was the week of July 7th, sent letters to Target and warned that that select elements from its June Pride collection may be in violation of child protection laws. So in the letters it said, as Attorney General committed to enforcing our state's child protection and parental rights laws and our state's economic interests as Target shareholders, we were concerned by recent events involving the company's Pride campaign, the letter stated. Our concern entitled the company's promotion and sale of potentially harmful products to minors related to potential interference with parental authority in matters of sex and gender identity, and possible violations of fiduciary duties by the company's directors and officers. Target willingly marketed and sold LGBT. Yep, it has all the letters. I'm just gonna move on. Promotional products to families and young children as part of comprehensive effort to promote gender and sexual identity among children. They went on to cite LGBT themed onesies, bibs, and overalls, t-shirts labeled girls, gays, and theys, Pride adult drag queen
What?
Katea, which depicts a male dressed as a female in drag, and girl swimsuits with tuck-friendly construction, which, as we talked about in our Pride episode, or whichever episode we talked about, we talked about in our Pride episode. Um, the swimsuit has no extra cover.
Mm-hmm. Also, by the way, our Pride episode is one of our like most listened to episodes right now.
It
Across
is.
all platforms. Like it grew like twice the amount that all of our episodes have grown in like a very short amount of time. So thank you so much for giving that much love. We got like a
Yeah.
lot. I feel like a lot of people really like that episode, or people just really hated it and are like, "Hey, listening to it." So thank you so much.
Yes. What was I gonna say? And then also they continued saying that a lot of the stuff was designed by a Prelin, a self-described Satanist-inspired clothing brand.
Yeah.
So that's what, some of the shirts, and then like I don't know if you ever saw the fanny pack that said something like it was non-binaries will always exist, and it had like pastel colors and like disco ball and like cutesy themed stuff, but it was designed by him. Well, the person who does this clothing brand, and some of their stuff is not great.
I'm confused.
So the attorney generals that wrote this were from Arkansas, Idaho. What's KY? Kentucky?
Yeah.
Mississippi. Missouri? No, MO. Yeah.
Oh, Missouri.
No. Yeah.
There's no O in Mississippi.
No.
No.
Mississippi is MIS. Well, they have it as Miss. It's
Miss.
MS is Mississippi. I don't know.
Excuse me. It's ma'am.
Sorry.
You really walked me into that one.
And a South Carolina attorney general all sent this letter. Now, I don't exactly know, other than they were claiming these things, I don't know how they go about what they'll do to Target. Because that collection is mostly gone.
I'm confused. I would like to ask a question.
Okay.
From a strictly examining our rights point of view,
Mm-hmm.
I am confused on what grounds they are able to like. Okay, I don't think that Target should be marketing it towards this stuff towards kids.
Yeah.
But I am confused on what grounds they can say that they're not allowed to market it towards kids. Like how what they're doing is wrong from strictly a personal rights point of view. Do you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't obviously know what specific, like, parental laws and child protection laws are in place in these states, and like what they state, because they're like claiming it might be. They haven't fully said whether it is, but it might be a violation to child protection laws and parental right laws.
Yeah, I'm just confused on how it's like a violation to that. Like it's like the only way that I was thinking that it could be like a violation to anything is if they were like, okay, here we are setting the boundary that stuff like this is like promoting sexual activity, and so it's a promoting sexual activity towards kids. Is
Mm-hmm.
that what they're trying to say?
Yeah, I don't know, because like they were like, let's see, promotional products to families and young children as part of a comprehensive comprehensive promote gender and sexual identity among children. But I'm like, I don't know.
But that's not sexual activity, it's sexual identity. So I'm
Yeah,
confused
so I don't know.
there.
Uh, and then related to potential interference with parental authority in matters of sex and gender identity.
Which is another one I'm confused about because in the same way you could say the same thing while be like, okay, well if they had a shirt that had a cross on it, someone who was like Buddhist and was raising their kids as Buddhist could be like, well, they're promoting I don't know.
Exactly. So I don't know.
I'm like like I'm just legitimately confused.
Yeah.
We'll have to do an update on this story just to kind of see how it goes because like I'm
Mhm.
just confused on what grounds this could move forward with.
Exactly.
And is if this moves forward, is this taking away some of our rights?
Yeah, and then it's one of those that's like, well, if they do it in this situation, what will they do when it comes to things such as Christianity?
Yeah. Because it's establishing a precedent that I don't think I agree with, even if I don't agree with the movement.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. But yeah, that was everything on that.
Mhm. Some confusing stories today.
Mhm.
All right. Um, is this our last story, or do we have one more after this?
This is the last one because my second story is non-existent.
I see that now. Okay. A federal judge has limited the Biden administration's communication with social media companies. So, um, the headline says federal judge has restricted the Biden administration and some government agencies and officials from communicating with social media companies about certain content. The injunction granted by U.S. District Court Judge Terry Dowdy, who was appointed by Trump, which the article goes like bends over backwards to mention that they were appointed by Trump. They do that
There's
every single time.
Yeah, I was like, there's several. But if it's appointed by anyone else,
They don't care.
I think I've read one article where it's been like an Obama
Hmm.
appointed judge or something like that. But the rest, they're like Trump appointed.
Hmm.
And then otherwise, they'll just leave it at
Hmm.
an attorney general or a district court judge. Like,
It's like last episode in the Wall Street Journal article where they were like, Jackson, who is a beautiful black female and what world renowned US Supreme Court judge and Clarence, who wrote like a 90-page thesis.
exactly.
Like that's exactly anyways, so the injunction granted by U.S. District Court Judge Terry Dowdy says that the parts of the government cannot communicate with social media companies for the purpose of urging, encouraging, pressuring, or inducing in any manner the removal, deletion, suppression, or reduction of content containing protected free
So
speech.
would this go for anyone or just certain people?
It's just some government agencies.
Yeah.
Um, He also said that there's a carve out that permits the government to warn social media platforms about criminal activity, national security, and foreign election interference. So you can't be like, let's ban Stephen Crowder because he spoke out against like Mark Zuckerberg. But you can be like, but the FBI can be like, hey, we see this like Unabomber who's like posts some threats. But overall, this ruling, if it were to become permanent, would represent a big and striking restriction on the government's ability to interact with social media companies. The Biden administration is currently appealing the ruling because, of course, they are.
Exactly.
When it comes to saying elections,
Hmm.
we'll just leave it there. Um, The plaintiffs who include, I love this, who include COVID vaccine skeptics, which comes out of nowhere. The first time I read that, I was like, what?
Not anything else. Just COVID vaccines. Nothing else.
The plaintiffs who include COVID vaccine skeptics focus on Biden and argue that his contact with Twitter represents an attempt by the government to suppress conservative speech. But winning that argument requires evidence that the government was not asking for content to be removed, but applying pressure toward that end. Multiple First Amendment scholars and free speech advocates say the sweeping nature of the ruling, the result of a lawsuit brought by Republican attorneys of Louisiana and Missouri, is too broad and hobbled by a partisan agenda. It's predicated on rickety reasoning. It conflates virtually any kind of discussion with censorship, and ultimately, it could end up protecting social media companies from legitimate criticisms. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, it's not protecting them from legitimate criticisms. It's protecting the users of it from too much government interference. So that was decided by a district court. I'm assuming this is going to go up to the Supreme Court because it's like this, the Biden administration is already working on appealing it. Knowing the current court that we have, I actually do not know if it's going to get passed through or not.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mhm,
Because, like, it seems kind of directed towards one side.
mhm.
Like,
How?
the court obviously
Mhm.
doesn't want to get fingers pointed at them.
I also feel like our court holds very true to the Constitution and doesn't let
Yeah.
that interfere too much with it, with their personal opinions if interfere too much with it. So I'm wondering, like, I truly don't know if this is a true violation of our rights.
Mm-hmm.
But also, the Bill of Rights is made to protect the people from the government. And so I feel like this would give more power to the people, even though they're framing it like it's giving more power to these big social media companies.
Exactly.
But that's just my opinion. And I
Mm-hmm.
haven't gone through like years of like law school and done like years of judging like these justices are. So I kind of hope this goes to the Supreme Court just because I would love to read
Mm-hmm.
a little concurring opinion by Clarence Thomas.
That's really
Maybe
all.
not
The only.
advocate.
That's the only reason you wanted to go.
That article that was from MSNBC, by the way, and the first part of it was from NPR, and then the other article was from Forbes. I just had to look at my references. That is all my thoughts on that, unless you have anything else to say.
Nope. I'm just
Okay.
here.
You're just here.
Just
Wonderful.
here.
You're just here. Let's get on to our main topic of this week. So this topic was kind of inspired by president and founder. Did he find
Yes.
founder Turning Point?
Yes.
Okay. And he's the current sitting CEO.
I believe so. Yes.
Okay. President and CEO and founder of Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk, who came and spoke at GCU last year, and
October.
who and Calista tries to gaslight me into believing that I wasn't there, but I was there.
Sorry, I didn't know you at that time, and I didn't realize you were there. And then I say something, and you're like, "I was there," and I was like, "Well, sorry. I also don't know who was there, even though I was volunteering."
And he talked about the different political parties, and he started out his speech by like defining each of the political parties in kind of like a fun way, like he poked fun at libertarians and stuff,
Yeah.
and kind of talked about like the ideologies of each of these parties. So he did, but he did it in a slightly different way.
No.
He did like what, like leftists, then liberals, then Democrats, libertarians, Republicans,
Mm.
rightists, and then like the far right. Is that how he
Yeah.
did it? But yeah, so we're gonna kind of do that. We're gonna do the major political parties. So Republican, Democrat. We're going to talk a little bit about libertarian. And then, we love to poke fun at the Green Party, so we'll be talking about them as well. And the Constitution Party, which I'm actually quite excited to learn about. And then to close it off, we're going to get up to some of our normal shenanigans and talk about some maybe a little bit sillier parties. And maybe I I personally have found a political party. I'm seriously considering changing my voting, registering as a voting for because I went down a very, very odd rabbit hole
Okay.
that may include future travel plans for us.
Okay.
So let's start out with Miss Callista with our Republican Party.
Yeah. So if I had to guess most of us or most of you listening are Republicans, but if you're not, that's okay. We love you all. The Republican Party is the party that values family, faith, and its country the most. It's for limited government. The Republican Party advocates for limited government intervention and supports policies promoting free markets, individual liberty, and personal responsibility. They often emphasize reducing government regulations and bureaucracy. Bureaucracy. Words. They're great. Republicans typically promote fiscal responsibility and advocate for lower taxes, reduced government spending, and balanced budgets. So, not spending or sending millions of dollars, trillions of whatever we're at, billions of dollars to
Could you
Ukraine.
schmillions? Could you?
I honestly don't know what number we're at this point.
It's disgusting.
They believe in the importance of a strong economy and job creation through private sector growth.
Don't we?
The Republican Party is known for its focus on a robust national defense and a strong military. They often prioritize maintaining a strong military presence and supporting defense spending to protect national security interests. Um, Republicans often align with socially conservative positions on abortion, same sex marriage, religious freedom, and they generally advocate for traditional values and seek to uphold conservative social norms. So, obviously, more pro life, pro marriage between man and woman, and then religious freedoms. Republicans strongly support the right to bear arms and generally oppose stricter gun control measures. They emphasize the importance of the Second Amendment and individual self-defense rights. My favorite one, the border, because our current administration doing real great. How do you lose 85 million kids at the border? 85,000, whatever it is.
I think you might lose 85 million kids at the border when you leave it open.
Just
That's just a hypothesis.
mm-hmm.
Maybe tested.
Yes. Republican position on immigration may vary, but many Republicans prioritize border security and advocate for stricter immigration policies. They often call for the enforcement of immigration laws and emphasize the need to address illegal immigration, maybe even build a wall, or what was the one political candidate or presidential candidate who was like, build a boundary or something.
Oh, what was it? It was Tim. No, it wasn't. It was the California guy.
can't remember, but
I know who you're talking about when he's like, we need to build some barriers.
barriers. There we go. Yeah,
Yeah.
because you can't say build a wall because that was Trump's thing. You got to say build a barrier
Mhm.
because
And
people might like the barrier a little bit better because apparently it seems less invasive.
he was also the same person who said he wanted to pardon Trump too.
Hmm. Republicans often champion states' rights and advocate for devolving power and decision making to the states rather than federal government. So, such as like when abortion went back to the states because, well, it's where it should have been in the first place because it's not in the Constitution. No matter how many times they try to argue it,
Mm-hmm.
it's not in the Constitution that it is constitutional and a government, U.S. government thing. It's a state issue. They argue that states should have more autonomy in education. I don't know why I wrote that. Healthcare and regulations. And then overall, the Republican Party tends to be pro God, pro gun, and pro life. Yep.
I think maybe this is just a me thing from an outsider's point of view that a lot of people think that get confused like what a traditional Republican is, as in like Republican as in like the definition
Hmm.
is what people think a libertarian is,
Yes.
when really, and they think that Republicans actually line up more Democratic, and Democrats like more traditional Democrat,
Hmm.
and that they think that Republicans want so much social control,
Hmm.
when really it Republicans are strong advocates for less government control, decentralized federal government, more of like state and local governments. And not even
Exactly.
more of that, just like decentralized to the state and
Hmm.
local.
Oh, and I have one more point. You know how the other day we were like, honestly, what does GOP mean? Like,
Hmm.
I just didn't know. It means grand old party, and I'm like, no wonder everyone thinks the Republican Party is just a bunch of old white men.
Okay, let's talk about the Democrats. Also, thank you for looking up that grand old party thing. Why? Wait, okay, explain to me this. So we are GOP,
Yes.
and like, okay, I'm so confused in what context GOP is used now.
A lot of times it's used like when describing the candidates and stuff.
Okay, that's
And
so.
I don't know why.
Alright. Well, let's talk about the Democratic Party. So the Democratic Party is actually considered to be the older of the two parties, and the actual first Democratic president was Andrew Jackson. So the party's principal governing organization is the Democratic National Committee, which is responsible for overseeing the process of writing and promoting party principal platform every year, providing national leadership surrounding campaign fundraising, political activity, and election strategy. Democrats favor social and economic equality. Um, they prefer more government control when it comes to the economy, but not as much private matters. Um, so like the difference between like Medicare and Roe v. Wade, where they're like the government, like we don't want free market, we want. It's very much like the Democratic Party has kind of evolved into more of the Socialist Party,
Hmm.
where we like everyone, we're gonna put all our money in a pot, and then everyone gets like $2 on the top. Whereas they're like, but when it comes to your body, like the government has no say. So we are actually, obviously, we are currently ridden by Democrats. Our president and VP are both Democrats, as well as our Senate. As our Senate is currently controlled by the Democrats. However, our House is still sitting as majority Republican.
Hmm.
Um, when it comes to like who the Democrats are, it's kind of changing a little bit. But traditionally, it's those who spent more time in um, higher education. So those who do more college, um, they're often it's like me to say poorer, but kind of true.
Mm-hmm.
Those who are more willing to live off the government, those who are foreign or minorities, and those who gather in big cities. So the biggest cities in the country are all Democrat. Phoenix, New York, Chicago, LA, Portland.
Seattle.
Portland's not big, but Portland, Seattle. I guess Miami used to be. I don't know if it still is. Um, which Texas city is super liberal? Is it Houston?
Austin.
Austin, that's what it is. And in Austin, the big one in Georgia.
Atlanta.
There we go. I don't know geography. Thank you.
That's the only reason she keeps me around.
Yeah. My little brother was born in Albany, Georgia.
Couldn't tell you that was a city in Georgia.
What?
I said I couldn't tell you that was a city in Georgia.
It's also a city in Oregon.
Oh, couldn't tell you.
Anyhow, but the Democratic Party's like voter profile is actually kind of switching up, especially this recent because there's more polarization there, especially regarding gender politics.
Mm-hmm.
We saw in the 2020 election with Florida and a large amount of like Cuban Americans and Hispanic, Latino Americans who lived in like Florida and that area really shifted Florida, and now Florida is like red state when it obviously
Mm-hmm.
you would not be. I mean, it was like the Miami, Orlando, and then in California too. Like obviously, California is still probably our most liberal state, second to maybe New York, but
Mm-hmm.
there's a shift in culture there. There's starting to become a shift in culture there that is primarily fueled by the Latino, Latinx, if you're being politically correct, community. Because many of them are immigrating out from Mexico, all these cities where they come from big, traditionally Catholic families.
Mm-hmm.
I think Catholicism was like the number one religion.
Yep.
So yeah, that's some information about the Democratic Party.
Okay. So now, what the heck is a libertarian, anyways? I don't know why I looked at Allison as if she knew.
A libertarian is someone who carries around a little pocket constitution.
According to libertarianism.org, that was a mouthful. Libertarians believe that in politics, liberty is the most important value. Almost everyone wants freedom for themselves, but a libertarian also seeks to protect and expand the freedom of others. When people are free, we can create more just prosperity,
Prosperous.
prosperous, safer, and better world for everyone. They believe liberty means being free to make their own choices about their own lives, that what you do with your body and your property ought to be up to you. Libertarians think that we ought to hold ourselves and our government to a higher standard, that a freer society is possible and desirable. Libertarians strongly support free market capitalism. They fight for the civil liberties such as freedom of speech, religion, and assembly. The biggest thing that they fight with air quotes just for is the idea of non-aggression principle. This idea is that being opposed to the intention of force
No.
or No,
Initiation.
you're right. Initiation of force or cohere. Words and I are not getting along tonight.
Big words for yourself.
They're not even big words.
I'm gonna go in before every podcast and switch out words for you, or put like phonetics, the phonetic of it.
A force to achieve politically or social goals. They believe in peaceful and voluntary interactions between individuals and the opposed aggression, which includes individuals and the government. So they're not very forceful. They also just go with the flow, kind of.
Libertarians are kind of like hippie Republicans.
I could have used that description. Hippie Republican.
They're like peace and whatever, man.
They really are. Like they have the same values as Republicans. They basically are like, it'll happen as it when it happens. And it's probably why we don't have like a libertarian in office, because well, they just go with the flow.
I used to tell people I was a libertarian instead of saying I was a Republican, because when you tell someone you're a libertarian, they're like, oh, and to pretend they know what that means.
Mm-hmm.
So to like all my like super liberal friends, which is like 99% of my friends, I'm like, oh, I'm just like a libertarian.
Yeah. Well, because also it kind of like, if you just look at the word real quick, you're like, oh, it's like kind of more like a liberal.
They're like, what does that mean? I'm like, I would just go, I'm like, oh, I just like believe in a decentralized government. And they're
Mm-hmm.
like, eh. I'm like, and they're like, I have no idea what that means. And then they go skip off and like post their
So black squares.
little black squares. Are we ready for the Green Party?
Yes.
Onto the actual like hippie stoner party, which I feel like is a running joke that the Green Party is a pothead party, when fully their entire party platform is just like environmental stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But according to their website, we're struggling today. According to their website, we are grassroots activists, environmentalists, advocates for social justice, nonviolent resistors, and regular citizens who've had enough for corporate dominated politics. Government must be part of the solution. When it's controlled by the 1%, it's part of the problem. The longer we wait for change, the harder it gets. You know what I'm noticing?
Mm-hmm.
That every single party in here is like, we love non-violent reform, whereas the Democrats are like, let's burn it to the ground.
Exactly. Let's Antifa it.
Mm-hmm.
BLM.
So the Green Party, they have like everything they do, like all of their entire platform falls under 4 pillars with 10 core values. So their 4 pillars are peace, ecology, social justice, and democracy. And for peace, it says our country's long wars and worldwide military presence are immoral and unsustainable. Our military budget must be cut dramatically. For ecology, they said the human cost of climate change is too high. We need to get off fossil fuels and onto renewable energy, which is surprising that that's not number one. Because like I'm listing them in the order that's listed on the website, and for the Green Party to have that as number two is quite odd to me.
Yeah, like to have peace before ecology when yeah, that's just odd.
And then number three, social justice. Falling wages and rising bills are hitting most of us, and the most vulnerable are hit the hardest. We demand a living wage and a real safety net. And number four is democracy. We demand public financing of elections, open debates, and more representative voting systems. So like like the Green Party, or like I would just say like a subculture of Democrats.
Hmm.
Um, like I guess they're like stoner Democrats. We got the hippie Republicans and the stoner Democrats.
Yeah.
I would like a little like what's it called? What am I gonna
Drum
do?
roll?
What?
Oh, I don't know what you a sign? I said a drum roll.
I heard Grubhub. I was like, I would love some Grubhub. If someone to order me some like mac and cheese, it'd be great. Um, no, I really want pizza. I've been craving like Domino's pizza all day. What's it called? Topography? Nope, that's Max.
Diagram?
Yes. To post on our Instagram, I want a little diagram of the different parts, but
Okay.
with our designated names from them.
Okay.
So they have 10 core values, key values, which is grassroots democracy, social injustice, equal opportunity. Did I read through everything, by the way? Or did I stop myself? I did.
You read through
Okay.
everything.
I was making sure. Okay, so the 10 key values are grassroots democracy, social justice and equal opportunity, ecological wisdom, nonviolence, decentralization, community based economics, feminism and gender equity, respect for diversity, personal and global responsibility, and future focus and sustainability. Which I think is so funny because literally last episode, that is everything we talked about, not our country not wanting to be.
The way they really just threw feminist in there.
Oh, I'm about to hit on that. So there's a couple ones. They have like a little explanation for each of them. I'm not gonna read out all of them just because each one's like a paragraph. A couple of them. Um. So once again, they have grassroots democracy first. Which like I don't know. It's just about like local government and stuff, which I agree with. More local government. But the two, for social justice and equal opportunity, they said, as a matter of right, all persons must have the opportunity to benefit equally from the resources afforded us by society and the environment. We must consciously confront in ourselves, our organizations, and society at large any discrimination by race, class, gender, sexual orientation, age, nationality, religion, or physical or mental ability that denies fair treatment and equal justice under the law. I'm so confused on how we confront that within ourselves.
Well,
They say we must confront that within ourselves and like other things, but I'm so confused on how you confront that in yourself.
mm,
Callista, every morning you need to wake up and you need to look in the mirror and say you are white, you are oppressing others.
I mean, that is what they tell us to do.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, look at yourself in the mirror. Instead of affirmations, you're going to say all of the reasons why you're oppressing people.
Um, Skipping down to ecological wisdom. This is my favorite one. Human societies must function with the understanding that we are part of nature, not separate from nature. We must maintain an ecological balance and live within the ecological and resource limits of our communities and our planet. We support a sustainable society that utilizes resources in such a way that future generations will benefit and not suffer from the practices of our generation. To this end, we must practice agriculture that replenishes the soil, move to an energy efficient economy, and live in ways that respect the integrity of natural systems. Callista, we are not separate from nature. We are part of nature. As the start of that is the funniest thing on the planet for me.
Yeah, the
I
hippie and
immediately could not take them seriously.
yeah.
Um, so scrolling down to your favorite part, feminism and gender equality.
Hmm.
We have inherited a social system based on male domination of politics and economics. We call for replacement of the cultural ethics of domination and control with the cooperative ways of interacting with respect differences of opinion and gender. Human values such as gender equity, interpersonal responsibility, and honesty must be developed with a moral conscience. We recognize that the process for determining our decisions and actions are just as important as achieving the outcomes we want. What does that have to do with feminism?
They just went, we need some attraction, some like social points here. It's like if I randomly, like we randomly title an episode feminist and then talk about, I don't know, the environment. We title our Earth Day episode as feminist instead.
Their one on community-based economics is wild to me. Let me read this. This is the longest one. Not the on focus and sustainability or their one on ecological wisdom. This is the longest. Community-based economics. We support redesigning our work structures to encourage employee ownership and workplace democracy. We support developing new economic activities and institutions that allow us to use technologies in ways that are humane, freeing, ecological, and responsive and accountable to communities. Responsive?
It
What is
talks back to you?
Yeah. We support establishing a form of basic economic security open to all. We call for moving beyond the narrow job ethic to new definitions of work, jobs, and income in a cooperative and democratic economy. So socialism, because new definitions of work, jobs, and income to a cooperative and democratic economy is a cooperative and democratic economy means socialism.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh. And then they say we support restructuring our patterns of income distribution to reflect the wealth created by those outside the formal monetary economy, those who take responsible for parenting, housekeeping, home gardens, community volunteer work, and the like. We support restricting the size and concentrated power of corporations without discouraging superior efficiency or technological innovation.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the Green Party.
Okay.
What a truly wild party.
Really is. They really said, how can we encompass everything, but also go on the platform of environment? So we're not saying we're Democrats, but basically we believe in everything they believe in, and we'll just throw a few environmental things in there. You look perplexed.
I'm just confused. And if your entire thing as a green, like you all need to market yourself better because you're called the pothead party, but when you should be like if you're the environmentalist party, you really need to market yourselves around being the environmentalist party.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Okay. Are we ready to move on to the Constitution Party?
I am very excited.
Okay. So, the Constitution Party advocates for a strict adherence to the original intent of the U.S. Constitution. The Constitution Party emphasizes limited government, individual liberties, and state rights. The party believes in reducing the size and scope of the federal government and returning power to the states and the people. They advocate for a strict interpretation of the Constitution and oppose government overreach. So making sure the states get what is theirs and the US government gets what's theirs. The Constitution Party strongly supports protecting individual rights, including freedom of speech, religion, and the right to keep and bear arms. They're not bear like as in a bear.
I didn't realize you could see my camera when I switched tabs.
Yeah. They're also critical. 3, 2, 1. Now I'm laughing. They are critical of government surveillance and encroachment on privacy, making sure they're not overstepping boundaries, which some people need to learn this in our
Patriot Act.
yeah. The party promotes responsible fiscal policies, advocating for reduced government spending, balanced budgets, and a sound monetary system. They oppose excessive taxation and believe in lowering the national debt, which certain administrations don't believe in that. Anyways. The Constitution Party is a more pro-life standing party. They oppose abortion, except in the cases where the mother's life is at risk. They also oppose the euthanations. Nope.
Euthanasia is not.
I'm making words up.
You can euthanize someone, but it's euthanasia.
I don't know what I said.
It's irrational. I'm a euthanasia.
They also oppose euthanasia. They oppose assisted suicide. So they take a more pro-life all-around stance. Is what I'm getting at. I just can't say words.
I've never thought of like a certain party taking a stance on assisted suicide. I never thought of that as something that parties take a stance on. I've always thought is that like an individually thing, but that's interesting that their party takes a stance on that.
Exactly. The party strongly supports the right to bear arms and opposes any infringement. They believe in the importance of self-defense and the ability of individuals to protect themselves and their families. The Constitution Party advocates for secure borders and strict enforcement of immigration laws. They oppose amnesty. I cannot with words tonight. Amnesty for illegal immigrants and support measures to protect American jobs and national security. Which sounds interesting because, like, the other parties, like Republican Party and Libertarians, both like have a stronger opinion on securing the border and everything. But this one's like protecting American jobs. Like, that's one of their big things is got to protect the American jobs.
I think that the Republicans are also they don't care like there's not really like a strong push to stop outsourcing our jobs either.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Republicans aren't like, oh, let's condemn, I don't know, like all these big companies because we work off of factories in like China. Like I think that it's individually as people, a lot of people can be like, we're condemning this, but I don't know. I think it's interesting. I mean, yeah, they're like it's an interesting party.
I feel like they're like, again, they're like kind of similar to the Republican Party, but I also feel like they're much more we the people, like,
Yeah,
let's stick to the Constitution. This is the way this should be. Let's protect our jobs, our people. Like,
100%.
yeah, so that is everything on that.
So
I have way less, but it's all good.
we are going. So in our journey to find political parties to talk about, we also came across some little kind of sillier political parties, and we're going to talk about them. So let's start off with Callista.
Okay. So a few of mine are not US parties, but it's okay. I might just have to move to a different country in order to register as this party, but so the Donald Duck Party.
Excuse me.
Uh-huh. They're a Swedish party. The purpose is to protest votes. So if you don't like any of the candidates, you just are a Donald. 3, 2, 1. A Donald Duck Party. You could just not vote for anyone. Vote for Donald Duck, who's not a candidate. And then, oh, apparently I had a different one first, but it's fine. We're gonna do it a different way. The best party of Iceland. Obviously, it's from Iceland. It says all other parties are secretly corrupt, so we will be openly corrupt.
You know what? That's fair. If I were in Iceland, I would register for this party.
Because, I mean, why not? If they can be secretly corrupt.
It is in fact true. All parties are secretly corrupt, so why not be openly corrupt?
Exactly. And then, why not the Polish beer lovers party? I can't even stand the smell of beer, but why not? And finally, this is the one that you're gonna understand, hopefully, if you remember.
Yes, I
The ant.
remember.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna register for real. Not really, but this is an American party, so I can, in fact, register without moving. Anti-Nebraska party.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Whoever invented this party, I love you. We here at I Don't Want to Talk About Politics are anti-Nebraska.
Yeah, so those are my parties I'm considering. I will have to move to a different country for 3 of them, but the anti-Nebraska party is my number 1 because,
But if we move to Iceland, then we can finally accomplish my Viking funeral from that one episode.
well, yeah,
I don't remember
good,
if we kept that in or not, but I'm keeping this in, so people are being real confused.
good.
Um,
But also that party's pretty great. That would probably be my second choice because honestly, you can be secretly corrupt. Why can't you be openly corrupt?
100%. We're definitely running under that, and we're stealing the election openly.
Openly. We're gonna dig out some votes from the White House basement.
Mm-hmm.
They have charts of people down there,
Mm-hmm.
and in those they just like go down the list and then like, oh, this person hasn't voted in a while, so let's just pick them.
Exactly. Then they're all going to put on fake mustaches and those little glasses with a little fake nose, come back through, vote again.
Yes.
I only did one political party because I went down truly a rabbit hole, Callista.
Okay.
Um, we were chatting the other day about our plan for this episode, and I was laughing maniacally the entire time for
Mm-hmm.
infiltrating of this group that I've done. I'm talking about the United States Pirate Party. Now I thought, this is a joke party. This is some silly, silly fun time. No, Calista, they take themselves very seriously. The United States Pirate Party, their motto is no safe harbor for the enemies of liberty, which is the coolest motto ever.
Yeah.
Their beliefs are putting people before corporations, opening up government, defending your privacy, promoting culture and knowledge through copyright reform, fostering innovation by abolishing patents, police reforms, condemn bigotry, pan Americanism, and foreign policies. So, just to explain a few of them, and I have some images I'm going to show you too. Explain a few of them. It's weird because they're like the perfect mix of like Democrats and Republicans. They're such an odd party. Well, for one, they're very anti any type of wiretapping, Patriot Act, um, um, anything post 9/11, they absolutely hate. Like under their defending privacy, they say terrorists may attack the open society, but only government can abolish it. The Pirate Party will prevent that from happening. Um, they don't believe in patents, which is quite interesting. So, like, even medical patents, they don't believe in, which is like a very hot topic right now. Have you heard about the whole thing about that? The deepest black.
No.
There was an artist who made like the darkest shade of black ever,
Hmm.
except he patented it so that nobody could use it. And there's a lot of people who are really mad about that.
So GCU?
Yeah. They talk about police reform, which it's police reform. But for Pan Americanism, because I was so confused on what this means. They basically believe, so they say continents have been united in various ways, such as Europe in the form of EU, Africa with AU, or Southeast Asia with ASEAN. While the existence of OAS, which is the Organization of American States, signifies a previous willingness to come together in the name of Pan Americanism, a restructuring from a paradigm of United States dominance to genuine collaboration and friendship is essential. A more united American continent will help each other become stronger and create a stronger bond between every American from Greenland to Patagonia. So basically, what they're trying to say is that North America, Central America, and South America should all become one and become Pan America.
Okay.
Did it it really tossed me around for a bit. And so they said we advocate for an increased diplomacy between Central America, South America, and the Caribbean, especially where we do not have a good record of friendly and diplomatic relationships. We need to earn the trust of our fellow American countries in the New World by being a helpful ally rather than an overarching imperial authority. Excuse me, we're not England.
No, we are American England.
We advocate for increasing trade and signing friendship treaties with these. They say friendship. This is a party of friendship, by the way.
Okay.
Um, we advocate for increasing trade and signing friendship treaties with these countries in order to assist them economically, helping to bolster the continent's economy in general and strengthening our cultural ties as Americans. We call for free movement for Americans from every American country, and we advocate for ending the Cuban embargo and lifting sanctions on Nicaragua or Venezuela. It's no secret that the treatment of Latin Americans and other ethnic/cultural minorities within these United States have been less than stellar. There'll be higher expectations if we claim that we have changed for the better, rightfully so. It takes years of work to repair the damaged relationships and restore the continental trust back in the USA and its citizens. That is something we here at the US Pirate Party join in partnership with the pirate parties on the American continents are committed to doing. So, um, they have a Discord.
And I'm gonna guess you joined this Discord.
I did. I had to do like a little bit of an introduction process.
Mm-hmm.
And so I joined the Discord. It's called US Pirate Party. And so I had to go into like the little lobby and stuff, and I had to introduce myself. I had to give myself pronouns, Callista. So I had to introduce my name. So I said Allison, she, her, my favorite political quote, which is loyalty to country always, loyalty to the government when it deserves it, which is the Mark Twain quote, and how you found the how you found the pirate party, and I said doing a research project. And someone called me, and literally almost immediately I got labeled as an imposter from someone from Washington.
Oh yeah, you were telling me this.
Yeah,
I remember you randomly were like, "You're an imposter."
so it took me so that happened, and like an hour later I was let in. And then I had to go through this entire thing where I like put my like when I was born and then where I was from, my pronouns, my age. And so then I got admitted into the United States Pirate Party. And so they have a lot of stuff. There's like polls they do every day. They talk about general topics. Like I've been involved in these conversations. Like I'm talking to people. Look, Cluster, I've been at this for like 3 days. Um, they have an entire young pirates section, which is for pirates who are underage to 25. So I joined that too. And um they have like all these different issues they talk about. So they have like the pirate wheel, which is all these different issues. Um they have national conferences. So the last couple years they've been digital. But this year, right now, they're voting. So there was a national conference 2022, and then the 2023 conference, which was in March, was called the Parody McPirate Face Conference. And right now, they're voting on where the 2024 conference is being held. Which is why I texted you that we might have to go to Philadelphia.
I honestly thought you texted the wrong person, and I was so confused because I was just like, out of the blue, I get a text that says we might have to go to Philadelphia next year, and I was like, Philadelphia? Question mark? Like, well, why?
And so then what I told I was from, I was like given a role, so I'm underneath the um the Northwestern Pirates, and there's a group chat for each state. So in the Oregon group chat, uh, I found this. Let me
Oh
just
no.
go ahead and copy this.
I love the keyboard.
There's a little symbol for the Oregon Pirate Party. Anyway, some more information about this. I was that truly I love this so much. They had some new elections. It's actually kind of cool is because they have like roles where you can do like there's like different channels where there's like a lot of collaboration. Like this is truly very well organized. So there's like a whole thing between the Northwest Pirates and the Heartland Pirates, as well as like all the Northwest states. And then under the Northwestern Pirates, there's all the different states. So there's Alaska, Idaho, Montana,
Mhm.
Nevada, Oregon, and Utah. And they each have a little symbol. So Alaska has a moose, Idaho has a potato, Montana has a mountain. Nevada has is that? I don't know what that is. Oh, it has a little slot machine. Oregon has a beaver. Utah has a bumblebee, and in Washington has a green square. I
I
don't know
don't
why.
know.
I don't know why they wouldn't do like a cup of coffee
Or an apple
or a nut.
or a evergreen tree? Why a nut?
Because aren't you guys like the number? You're like actually Oregon. Never mind. Oregon's the number one producer of hazelnuts.
I was like, we're number one producer of apples. And technically, we produce more potatoes than Idaho. Idaho is the potato state.
You will never let anyone live that down, will you?
No. We got in
Anyway,
an argument over it once with the group that we used to do co-op with, like some of our friends, because some of them were from Idaho, and then there was us, and then we were learning about the states, and yeah, we got in an argument.
but it's it's actually quite interesting. Like, people really care in this. Like, they put a lot of effort in. There's a lot of push for people to run for office and pushes to do. Like, it's quite interesting, and it is quite a wide range of
Mhm.
views on political topics. It is very funny in their memes chat. They hate on both Democrats and Republicans equally,
Mhm.
and it makes me laugh every single time.
Um, so just hypothetically, somebody from the Pirate Party was elected into office. How do they go about convincing all of the North American countries and all the South American countries and the Caribbean all to join? How do you go about that? Because you're obviously going to have like a few countries on board, but there's going to be a lot of countries that are like, no, it's a hard pass for me.
But they do bring it. Here's a quite interesting thing. So today, the main topic on the off topic was talking about Biden. And there's very mixed reviews on Biden. So apparently there's like this story that came out that said that Biden yells at staffers, which
Hmm,
I didn't hear. So I'm not like
me
too
neither.
was
I was going to say because you're an ostrich with your head stuck in the ground, and then I realized that was the old take of this episode.
it?
Yeah, it was
Okay.
the first take.
And then he said, and then someone says, someone goes, okay, how does that take precedence over the lives of Iraqi, Syrian, and Somalian civilians? That's kind of an odd thing to pivot to, which I don't know the context of this conversation. And then the person responded, it's contrasting his tendency to be loud in private but silent in public about what little good he managed to do. He's terrible at using the bully pulpit, but he's great at yelling at individuals, be they underlings or people at his campaign events.
What
And I think
the heck?
it's so interesting that half of them hate Biden and the other half love him because there was an entire thing. Let me find it. This is funny. Someone says whenever Russia talks about Nazism, it's truly is just a Soviet. What? I I I love this. Truly love this group. I I found my people. It may be a people I'm infiltrating, but I found them. But they were talking about something that we were talking about earlier in last episode, and I wanted to bring it up. Let me find it.
Don't get kicked out of the group that you're infiltrating.
We talked about it last episode about how Biden hasn't done anything monumental, and we were having this conversation actually today on it, and I think it's kind of interesting. So one person says
Um,
it sucks to be the server's Brandon's spokesperson. You're on brand what?
what?
Because it was in response to the what? But it cannot be overstated how powerful the Supreme Court has become. Without the House, there isn't much anyone in the White House could do. At least Obama had executive orders on his side. With these justices, I don't think it would work. And while it's likely the Dems take the House next year, the Senate isn't looking so good. We are currently in a timeline where it's in humanity's best interest that Joe Manchin both run for Senate and win. In other words, the bad timeline. And then I remember how we were also talking about how he's done nothing impactful. And then someone listed out all the things that they believe that he did was like super impactful.
Okay.
And
Well,
almost completely ending warfare, expanding drone warfare oversight, appointing a liberal judge to the Supreme Court, backing Ukraine, backing Taiwan. We did not back Taiwan. Recognizing the Armenian genocide, outsmarting House Republicans on the debt stealing hostage situation, and attempting to forgive student debt, ultimately foiled by SCOTUS, are all good things that wouldn't have happened under Trump. And as much as I love Bernie, he wouldn't be any more capable of usurping the Supreme Court any more than Biden is. Edit. I can't believe I didn't mention Biden ending the transgender military ban and setting the refugee cap at 125,000. For reference, Trump's refugee cap was 15,000 and his goal was an eventual cap of 0.
okay, but she said, or this person says, attempt to on the student debt. Go back to the student debt.
My thing is Brandon's spokesperson.
But yeah, that too.
I want to get in closer. The thing is, I want to get in here and argue with people so bad.
Uh-huh.
But if I argue with people, I get kicked out.
Yeah. But no, the fact that this person was like, yeah, attempted to stop student debt.
I kind of
It's
want to
like
respond.
you're listing that as an accomplishment, but that was only an attempt, and that didn't happen.
And how can you say appointed a little judge and then also think he was foiled by the Supreme Court? If you text me tomorrow and be like, Allison, what have you been up to? And I'm like, I have been in the trenches
You're
arguing
like,
that.
so actually, I woke up at 7 a.m. just to get in a debate.
I woke up at 7 a.m. I am now on my way to Central America to do a conference to help unite Pan America.
I'll be like, okay.
I kind of want to ironically make this my entire brand. Like I might just like switch my bio and just ironically make myself fully the party, become one with the party till it is no longer ironic.
Okay.
All right. Let's wrap this up.
Let's do it.
I don't even have the energy to do pop culture this week.
Me neither.
All right, no pop culture this week. We're both tired. We'll move this till next week.
Because
Um,
it'll be a fun one.
it'll be a fun one, and we need a fun one after what we're talking about next week.
Uh-huh.
All right. Well, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of I Don't Want to Talk About Politics. Make sure to check us out on Instagram at IDWTap_podcast. Also, check out our personal Instagrams at Allie.joy173 and
Callista J 1776.
as always, in the description below, you can find the link to our references page. You can send us a voice message or an email, or both if you're feeling cute. For those listening on Spotify, make sure that you vote in this week's poll, which will also be in our YouTube community posts.
Would you consider joining a different party? Would you consider joining the pirate party?
Would you consider joining the pirate party? And to that, I say 100% yes. Calista, I want to go to this conference so bad. Calista, what are we talking about next episode?
Next episode, we're doing a little bit of a different episode. We'll be talking about the #1 movie in the country, Barbie. Just kidding. even though we will definitely be talking about Barbie when it comes out. We'll actually be talking about The Sound of Freedom, a movie that pulls back the curtain on sad and dark realities of human trafficking. If you haven't yet, we definitely recommend that you go see the movie because there will be a definite.
That's not a strange word.
No, it's not. Because there will be a definite.
Nope.
Spoilers. No.
Definite
It will
spoiler.
be.
One.
There will be definite spoilers.
There's a link in our bio on Instagram where you can donate so other people can get tickets, and I think you can also get free tickets from that link too.
I believe so.
But make sure that you check it out. It's a pretty incredible movie. There's apparently some backlash going on in the media right now, which we'll talk about next week. Do a little bit on kind of the realities of human trafficking and our overall thoughts on the movie.
Yes.
Like all that's going on around it. It'll be a little bit of a different episode, but it'll be quite interesting. And we'll have a little fun pop culture segment at the end, which I think we're both very excited.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much for listening this week. I know we were a little bonkers.
Callista couldn't say words.
Callista say words, and Allison's snuck behind enemy lines.
Yeah.
And my computer is about to die in about 5 minutes. All right.
Okay.
We'll see you next week.